final quality of the field performance is solely dependent upon the quality of the basics of the individuals. An individual to become a rifle has to be willing to go to great lengths as any student learning to play a musical instrument. The motivation for an individual to become a good rifle or a good flag is the demands of the unit itself. And this goes back to the instructor. Radio line, that's what we're talking about, right? Fasten review, forward march. Move to your right, Joanne. Move to your right. Aim to the other side of the posting mark instead of facing. That's it. I'm the center. Aim for me. This color guard is a portion of the guard that is used with the marching organization. They're training for competitive color guard contests. And in this area, we develop the skills of the individual to a high degree, and I might add the skills of the instructor, because of the demands of the competition are so much keener than they would be for a field performance with a marching musical organization.
Now, she delayed slightly. It was like a dotted quarter note. So it's click, 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 click. Okay, it should be, I think, right?
Bang. We spend many, many hours on basic manuals, going to right shoulder arms, using the same command for the flags of just a 4-count right shoulder arms with flags and with rifles, coordinated. And everything is checked, timing is checked until they can do that perfectly. Then we go on to the more advanced moves. To understand that to get an impact out of a section, it's a uniformity of movement. And once they get the idea of the requirement of precision and exactness, then they begin to perform as a unit and begin to achieve the thing that color guard is really for. There is no substitute for the basics.
First thing we learn in basics on the rifle handling is the basic manual of arms. In the beginning of the basic manual, we start at attention. Out to a parade rest, back to attention, up to a right shoulder, down to an order, back to right shoulder, down to a port, back to a right shoulder, down to a present, back to a right shoulder, a present on the move, mark time, hut, down to an order, and out to a parade rest. In progressing from your basic manual of arms, you start utilizing your wrist for flips and spins. In coming from a right shoulder down to a port and doing a flip that comes from a port to a port, you're going to pull up on your right and you're going to pull down on your left hand. So as you pull up on your right and down on your left, you end back in your port with the same hand positions. Now if you want to do a flip from the port position to the flat position, you're again going to pull up on the right hand and pull down on the left hand, so that as you end up, you'll end up in a flat position. with the hand in the middle of the groove, the thumb on a 45, and the right hand on the grip of the rifle with the fingers over. Now if you want to do a flip from the flat position, you're going to push down with your right hand this time, pull up with your left, so that you end up back in this position. This hand should be in the groove with the thumb on the back, this hand with the thumb over and the fingers around. If you want to reverse that position, you're going to push down with your left hand and up with your right, so that you end up back in the same position you started in. And doing your basic spin positions, you're going to begin with your left hand in the middle of the groove and your right hand in the small of the rifle. Okay, notice when you're doing your spin, you begin with your hand in the middle of the groove. And as you start your spin, your hand shifts from this position to the center of your rifle. This is where your balance is. So as you push down with your right, you pull up with your left, you end up with your hand right there. So you're spinning in that position of your rifle. But as you go to catch it, you're going to take and slow your hands and spread them apart so you end up with your hands in the middle of the groove again. Okay, the right hand's going to stay in the small of the rifle. And as it goes to catch, your left hand will move out and catch in the middle of your groove. Mark time. Cut. Port flip, port to flat, reversal, back to port, reverse port, straight spin, and 4. Back to port. In doing any beginning area work, the best and easiest way to do it is with a dip. And as you dip, you're going to take and pull down with both hands so you end up with the rifle right between your legs, so that your wrist pops, so at the end of the back of your hand ends up facing you. So as your wrist starts this way, you got your wrist flat, and as it comes back, your hand's flat against your rifle. The left hand is with the thumb straight across the back. Now in doing the dip and getting to your toss, you're going to push down with your right hand and you're going to pull up with your left hand. So as you do this, you end up with your toss. And progressing on to your 1.5, you again utilize your dip. And as you push this time, you're going to put a little more push into your rifle so you gain a little more height. As you push down, notice where the hands go on the stomach. And going into a double aerial, you still use your dip. And this time you're going to push even harder so you end up with 2 complete revolutions in the air. So as you push down and you pull up, you end up catching back to flat position.
Hand positions, rifle positions have to be precisely alike to get the desired impact visually. The rifle section can be used very strongly to provide a feature so that there is something of interest on stage. The rifles would move much the same way that a dancing or chorus line would, with a high kick at a certain strong point in the music and come to the conclusion with the music, and it adds this visual emphasis that makes a much better total program. this type of competition during the non-marching season is very beneficial because it provides motivation for them to achieve the degree of skill necessary to finally accomplish what you want to for the field marching show. The fun and enjoyment for the individual comes from the achievement of excellence.